Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Sarah Pye here, and I'm the author of the books that you see on the screen. The Wildlife Wong series was shortlisted for an Educational Publishing Award in Australia in 2022, of which I'm really proud. Today, I'm not going to talk to you about the animals in Borneo. Today, I want to introduce you to the amazing world of shorebirds. Now, when we think about birds in Australia, we tend to think of colourful critters like rainbow lorikeets, sulphur-crested cockatoos and budgerigars. But sometimes the less attractive species have the most incredible story. Today, I'm looking forward to sharing with you a little about the hidden life of shorebirds, the most incredible tourists of the skies. I'll then let you know what my council's doing to help protect these guys and introduce you to an inspirational young scientist who's doing what she can to raise awareness about their incredible journeys. I might even give you a couple of resources so you can find out more. So when I think about migrations, I picture humpback whales journeying from their feeding grounds in Antarctica to their breeding grounds on the Great Barrier Reef. Before I was an author, I was a commercial boat captain running whale watch trips. Little did I know then that when it comes to migration, shorebirds leave whales in their dust. It turns out there are 36 different migratory shorebirds that visit Australia. They use the East Asian or Australasian flyway to travel astronomical distances each year. I'm going to introduce you to three. This amazing creature is the bar-tailed godwit. This incredible flyer holds the Guinness Book World Record for the longest non-stop flight at 13,560 kilometers from Alaska to Tasmania. That's the equivalent of a third of the world's circumference. Before it took off, the bird doubled its weight. It then flew 11 days without rest or food. To conserve energy, it shut off half its brain while it flew. And in that journey, even so, it lost half its body weight. You may wonder why it doesn't take breaks. Well, this species doesn't have webbed feet. That means if it lands on water, it can't take off again and it dies, hence the long stop journey. There are an estimated 146,000 of this species traversing the Australasian flyway, but numbers are severely declining rapidly due to habitat loss and humans building on wetlands. And dogs. The next species is a grey plover. Grey plovers breed in northern Siberia, Alaska, and Canada. They get all dolled up to breed by changing their plumage to the one on the left. Now, both parents incubate or sit on their eggs, but then when the chicks hatch, mum hangs around for a couple of weeks before abandoning the ship and flying all the way to Australia. It's about as far away from her family as it's possible to get. These jet-setting females use cells in their eyes to sense Earth's magnetic field. Now, 98% of the birds that arrive in Australia are female. This is called a segregated migratory strategy, and scientists aren't exactly sure where the males go in the non-breeding season. Each year, about 50,000 birds take this journey, crossing national boundaries as they go. Recently, China has pushed to have its Yellow Sea wetlands recognized as World Heritage, and Myanmar is working hard to shift cultural hunting practices. These are glimmers of hope for the grey plover. In 2020, a beautifully written book called Flight Lines was published by Australian scientist and author Andrew Derry. He tracked two grey plovers on their journey back north, and they encountered predators, typhoons, and cyclones. As you can imagine, it's a pretty good read, so I recommend it. Introduce you to is the eastern curlew. This is the largest migratory shorebird in the world, and it's critically endangered. Chicks are born in Russia and northeastern China, but 75% of the world's eastern curlews spend their summers in Australia. This requires a 10,000-kilometre journey. There's good news and bad news for these majestic birds. Let's start with the bad news. The eastern curlew occurs only in the Australasian flyway and is listed as one of the Australian government's 20 priority bird species. One of the largest remaining significant wetlands for this species is the Ramsar site in Toondah, Moreton Bay, Queensland, close to where I live. Unfortunately, the Walker Court has planned to reclaim 42 hectares of a Ramsar wetland site for a marina and building development. If you want to add your voice to this petition against the development, use the tiny URL on this slide. Now for some of the good news. If you haven't guessed it yet, shorebirds are an essential part of our global ecosystem, and no one is more aware of this than zoologist Millie Formby. Millie is obsessed with raising awareness about shorebirds. She's also obsessed with flying, and she recently flew 20,000 kilometers in a microlight around Australia to meet people working to protect shorebirds. Her book, A Shorebird Flying Adventure, is a wonderful educational tool, and I seriously recommend it to any of you who have young people in your lives. I was lucky enough to meet with Millie in April when she flew into Bribie Island, and you can read all about her adventures inside this wonderful book. You can also view her journey on Polar Steps using this link and watch live streams of her actual flying adventures on the link below. If you live in Australia and you want to find more about shorebirds, I recommend Flyways documentary. It's available on ABC iView. Flyways follows 3 teams and the charismatic scientists around the world who are doing their best to learn more about shorebirds and save their migration. I'm really proud of the Sunshine Coast Council where I live, who have decided to restrict dog movements in certain areas on the Sunshine Coast where shorebirds roost. You can support your council to do the same thing. Let's protect these yearly visitors and help them make it on these amazing long journeys. They're an important part of our ecosystem, and once you know a little bit more about them, perhaps you respect them as much as I do. Thank you so much for listening.